By the time you're watching this, our Nothing Phone 4A and 4A Pro reviews, or one review, is out. I'm going to actually hold it. I have the 4A Pro right here. This is the pink one. It's not the best looking version of this phone. I think the monocolored versions are better.
Pink, allegedly.
I reviewed the phones, and I also have this theory, because we've talked about Nothing before about why they're not doing a flagship this year. They're not doing you can hold it. They're not doing a Nothing Phone 4. They're just doing a 4A and a 4A Pro.
4A Pro Lite. Just
and it's
just kidding.
It's interesting, and I think, you mentioned RAM prices. I think Nothing is in a really tough spot, whereas a smaller company, they don't get the best costs because their order sizes from suppliers are smaller. And in general, they probably spend more for all the same specs as the big, flagship companies. They, at these conditions, can't really make a competitive flagship. Last time they tried was Nothing Phone 3 last year, $800. Kind of got flamed for it. They put a flagship chip in it, but it just wasn't, a full-on flagship, especially the camera performance. What they do thrive at is really good mid-range phones. These are competitive, good, well-priced mid-range phones. The Nothing Phone 4A is €349, 349 pounds. It's really good for that price.
Yeah.
Triple cameras for that price. iPhone can't say that. Pixel can't say that. Samsung might have a triple camera phone at that price, but it's like, that's nice. It's an OLED. It's 120 hertz. It's a Snapdragon 7S Gen 4. It's a good phone for $349. And then the 4A Pro that you're holding is $500 US, and it's not as great of a deal, but it's still pretty good. So yeah, the reviews are out. I'm curious, now that you're holding one and looking at the 4A Pro, what you think of.
Yeah, I want to boot it up real quick and just kind of see the stuff. Again, like you said, so it's metal, so no wireless charging.
Yep.
Metal phones are sick, but no wireless charging is sad.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that because, if you give me no wireless charging in a glass back, then I'm mad. If you're going to not give us wireless charging, then give me the premium, and then I'm okay with it.
True, the 4A does not have wireless charging.
I will miss wireless charging, but I'm glad they at least gave you the premium other option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Nothing is still doing a pretty good job with the constraints that they had. Like you said, the $349 one is cooking like crazy. You know how on Twitter randomly some bot will like a tweet that you made from 10 years ago?
All the time.
All the time. So yesterday, a bot liked a tweet that I had made in a thread about the Pixel 4a when it first came out. And that phone was $349. And I really, obviously, Pixel 4a is one of my favorite Pixels they ever made. Hardware, plastic, very cheap. And I was sort of just talking about the software makes up for it, et cetera, et cetera. This is the Nothing Phone 4A is sort of like it's a much better version of that. So it's got everything that the Pixel 4A had, but, it's more premium in many, many ways. So if you look even if you add inflation into account, we're how many years? 6 years after the Pixel 4a, and we still have this. Being able to buy something like that at $349 is still an incredible deal, especially in the universe we are currently living in with RAM shortages and stuff.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's going to come down to whether or not you actually want the extra stuff that comes with the Pro, and if you're okay with the metal unibody versus the other designs.
Yeah. I just find the positioning fascinating.
I think it's good positioning. I think these phones are awesome at their price point. I don't love the pink on this as much because inside the camera bump, it doesn't match. Whereas the black one has black interiors and the silver one has the white interiors. This basically has the silver interiors on the camera bump. They didn't send us a silver one, which I think is the best looking one.
Yeah.
It matches the best with the red accent and everything, which I'm bummed about. But there's a small example I wanted to throw in here of Ellis talking about how technical versus marketing aspects and how that can kind of be confusing. And it made me realize sometimes with these briefs or press briefings and the briefs that they actually send us, it feels like we're translators at some point because we need to find, goes from technical to marketing jargon to us then trying to figure out the level of technical and jargon to use. But on the 4A Pro with the glyph system, the interface, the LED interface.
Glyph matrix.
The glyph matrix, thank you. They write it is 50% bigger and twice as bright. Yep. So we are doing the script and I'm going through it and making sure everything's correct and seeing what else we can add to it. And I go, oh, it's bigger. The easiest way to prove that it's bigger other than showing it is to find out how many LEDs are inside of it because they made a big deal of it being 137 mini LEDs in here. So I was like, cool, the old one must be less. And then I keep getting this that the Nothing 3 has 489 micro LEDs, while this has 137 mini LEDs, but is bigger. So their way of saying this is, oh, this is physically bigger, but also way worse resolution. But we're not gonna say it has less pixels in it.
Yeah, they'll never say that in the press
And
release.
truthfully, I don't think it matters. I think it gets the point across in there. I don't think you need, because the resolution still looks terrible on the 489 pixel one.
Yeah.
But that's an example of those.
$499 is still a very good price for a phone like this.
I have beef the higher they go up in the range, and I think that would have toppled with a Pro phone, or with like a flagship phone.
Yeah.
So like the 349 Nothing 4A is a great deal and a really good phone for the price. You're spending theoretically $150 more for this Pro phone. All you're getting, honestly, is the aluminum build, and the glyph matrix. You know, the screens are almost the same. They're a tiny bit bigger. The pixel density is almost the same, but the brightness is almost the same. The cameras are almost the same.
The same chipset?
This chipset goes from a Snapdragon 7S Gen 4 to a Snapdragon 7 Gen 4. The RAM is the same. The storage is the same. It's like almost the same phone.
Yeah.
Pro features, I'm like, oh, it's the Pro. Maybe there's some camera features or there's some Pro things that are enabled by the software. I think it's just HDR video on the Pro and 140x zoom instead of 70x zoom.
World's first.
Which is just crop. So the $150 up to the 4A Pro is like, now it's a decent value. If they tried to go that was a shutter sound?
Yeah.
Wow. If they tried to go all the way up, I think, to a flagship $900 phone and put a Snapdragon 8S Gen 5 or whatever in there and tried to go 12 gigs of RAM and all this other stuff, high-end storage, high-end screen, high-end cameras, they would be looking at their thinnest margins and their least competitive phone. And so they just didn't do it.
There is one thing you get with the 4A Pro versus the 4A, which is the ability to purchase it in the United States. The 4A is not coming to the US.
Which is too bad because it's a better deal.
I guess the other thing is just design.
Yeah.
You might like this design with the metal body better.
It's definitely
kind of do in the
louder.
silver version.
And the silver looks really cool. Yeah.
You think this is louder?
Yes.
I think this is less loud than the 4A.
The 4A?
The 4A still has all of the designs and everything going through it, where this is like keeping it up into just this pill.
Or the bean or whatever we call it.
Well, this is the plateau. That's the bean. The bean's the camera.
But I'm talking about the 4A.
Oh, yeah.
The 4A is just one big bean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching that clip. If you agreed with what we said in whatever we were talking about, leave us a thumbs up. If you disagreed with whatever we said, hit that subscribe button down there. It's down there somewhere. Thanks. I like that.
We can't see your dislikes.